The third chapter in this crystal collection, Stories That Tickle the Funny Bone, is all about people. And as we know, just like ice cream, they come in many flavors. I must confess that I wrote this story, and it's about one of my favorite people, Peggy. It starts with this quote. "I saw my cousin Peggy today," enthused my boyfriend. "She dyed her hair red, and it looks absolutely stunning." Well, Cousin Peggy sounded like such a terrific gal, I couldn't wait to meet her. And she didn't disappoint. She was funny, outgoing, and warm. When I spoke to her about her hair color, telling her how natural it looked, without batting a lash, she shared that actually her hair was red, but only the part hidden under her bikini. Then she quipped, "Maybe I should just walk around doing handstands." Several funny episodes followed, each in some way involving her red hair. One I recount in this story involved a young intern who took a shine to her when she unexpectedly entered the hospital. He kept speaking about her hair, what a beautiful color it was, how natural it looked, but always ending by asking her the same question. "Is it actually yours, or does it come from a bottle?" Peggy kept teasing along until one day, when he thought she wasn't looking, he did the unthinkable. He peeked beneath the bedsheets. Now he was convinced. Yes, Peggy was a natural redhead. The second story in the Crystal Collection, chapter titled People Like Ice Cream Come in Many Flavors, was written by Jeff Rimlin. Jeff and I are both members of the Long Island Writers Group. One night he rushed into our meeting a bit breathless to share one of his happy commuter stories, an event that he had just experienced. Although Jeff is primarily known for his poetry, I coaxed him to write this story. On this particular day, Jeff was late for his train. All the spaces in the commuter parking garage were filled, except for one. It was a tight fit because the car parked next to his driver's side was way over the line, invading well over a foot of his space. But he managed to open his door, inhale, press his back against the side of his car, and squeeze through. Then he rushed to catch his train. By then, he only had 10 minutes to spare, but luckily he made it. Yes, a business day can be fraught with challenges, and this one was. He got to his city and found out that his most important appointment had been canceled just a few minutes before. But that wasn't the worst of his day. Jeff was about to confront an even bigger problem. The owner of the car, parked next to his, was standing, one hand on hip, one pointing accusing him of scratching her car with his side view mirror. It's not a very funny story yet, right? But remember, he titled it Justice and Irony, so perhaps you can figure out the rest for yourself. Cami Ann Hofstadter is an attorney, a retired college professor, and quite a skilled writer as well. She was born and raised in Finland, but now resides in Miami, Florida. In her story, Leftover Feminism, My Lunch with Betty Friedan, Cami recounts a most strange afternoon that she spent interviewing this queen of the feminine mystique. Cami first learned about Betty Friedan many years ago when she was fairly new to the United States, when the subject for the day was a discussion on Betty Friedan's book, The Feminine Mystique. Subsequently, Cami, who was a young woman at the time on a limited budget, set up an appointment with Miss Friedan to interview her over a cup of coffee. They sat at a table on the patio at the Waldorf Towers in Miami, Florida to begin. Unmindful of courtesy, Miss Friedan ordered a seafood cocktail, picked at it just a little bit, and dismissively suggested that maybe Cammy could take the rest of it home. The rest of the interview progressed similarly, with Cammy taking notes while Miss Ferdinand continued to exhibit consideration, but unfortunately only to herself. The story ends on a particularly humorous note. So much for feminism. What about common courtesy? Our next story about people of many different flavors comes to us from Mark Newhouse. Mark Newhouse, who hails from Lady Lake, Florida, has won numerous writing awards, including 2 from Tales2Inspire. His painfully true story, that's its title, is about experiences with 2 different dental assistants at the same dentist office. The first assistant was quite gentle as she examined and tended to Mark's teeth. But then she started the following conversation. "Mr. Newhouse, don't you recognize me?" Uh-oh. It turned out that Lila was a former student who sat in his class all semester making cow eyes at him. When she admitted to her crush on him, Mark felt it might be better to request a different dental assistant for his next appointment. On that next appointment, in contrast to Lila's gentle touch, this assistant was rough as sandpaper. Mark quietly nicknamed her Gorilla Hands. He could hardly believe his ears when he heard the same question asked of him again. "Mr. Newhouse, don't you recognize me?" Mark thought, "Oh no, this can't be happening again." She was too old to be a former girlfriend. What memory did Mark evoke in Gorilla Hands? As he himself says, who could make up such a story? Mark laughingly cautions us, beware the dental assistant. The final story in this section of the Crystal Collection, the section about people of many flavors, is titled, Hope Your Team Wins. Yes, I must confess I wrote this one too. Fanny was a real-life relative. This true story shows just what a colorful person she was. It all started on a Monday morning on a hot summer day when she was down in her basement doing laundry. After starting the machine, she decided to toss in her nightgown. No matter that she was now going to be stark naked as the day she was born, she was alone in the house. Then there was a ring at the doorbell. What to do? She pulled out her husband's old raccoon coat from the basement closet. Even though it was middle of July, she wrapped it around her, went upstairs, and opened the door to see the meter man. Well, he gave her a couple of funny looks, but he didn't say a word. A month went by, and again Franny was in the basement doing laundry when she looked up toward the ceiling and noticed some cobwebs overhead. Not wanting to mess her hair, she looked around for something to protect her blonde curls. And she found her son's football helmet, carefully put it on, and then, you guessed it, the doorbell rang again. Unbelievably, there was the meter man once again, but this time he couldn't quite resist. Before he left, he said something that just made me roar. This concludes the 3rd chapter of the Crystal Collection, Stories That Tickle the Funny Bone, the chapter about people of many flavors. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, click on the like button that you see below. And there's a little more. If you go to www.tales2inspire.com and click on the word gifts at the top of the screen, I have an extra surprise for you.